Mention Cuba and you typically get a variety of reactions. For some Americans, memories of the Cuban Missile Crisis still linger. And for many Cuban Americans, Fidel Castro remains a source of distrust. But increasingly, attitudes toward this island nation have softened for most Americans as Cold War conflicts have thawed. And with that, hope of trade between our two countries continues to grow. Yet as we found out on a recent trip, when it comes to trade with Cuba, nothing is easy with this distant neighbor. In the land of Caribbean breezes and vintage cars, cowboy boots are something new in the old streets of Havana. For the first time in over 40 years, Oklahoma government officials are in Cuba for the delivery of $4 million of Oklahoma wheat.
The Cubans are excited about being here. They appreciate Oklahoma coming here. They appreciate the contacts that Oklahoma is having with their country. And they're excited about many purchases that they could possibly make.
Since the lifting of our country's ban on food exports to Cuba in the year 2000, sales to this island nation have grown to nearly $500 million.
Now, such gains have not been easy. Travel here to Cuba is extremely difficult. In fact, for most Americans, nearly impossible because of trade restrictions imposed by our own government. Yet it was on a sanctioned trip in 2002 that an Oklahoma farmer met with Cuban leaders and forged a relationship that led to the first trade deal between our state and Cuba in over 40 years.
Cuba's turning out to be one of the major players for wheat imports in the world.
Keith Kisling is the chairman of U.S. Wheat Associates and was able to meet with Fidel Castro.
When he said, I want to buy your wheat, Keith, I want to buy your wheat from Oklahoma. I want to buy $300,000 worth of products from 40 different states, but wheat from Oklahoma is what I want to buy. I said, I can't sell you just my wheat, but maybe my neighbors and I can get together and we can send it to you.
And with that simple request began a journey that took 2 years, multiple visits, with the final signing of a deal in October.
Well, I think it's just a start. I mean, they import 1 million metric tons, so we're just getting started. I think we ought to be able to send them the wheat they want.
But such hopes may be overly optimistic. While the total ban on U.S. food sales to Cuba has been lifted, our federal government continues to impose restrictions that make such sales cumbersome and often impossible.
I can tell you that we favor freedom of travel and freedom of trade. We believe trade will be the bridge of friendship between Cuba and the United States.
Pedro Alvarez is in charge of Cuba's food imports and says while his country prefers American grain, U.S. policy that requires cash payment through a third country has limited Cuba's purchases.
It's no secret that if restrictions are tightened, this market will be eliminated. We had some wheat we were to purchase from the United States, but payments were held up in your Treasury Department. Obviously, we cannot starve to death. We had to buy the wheat, and we purchased 150,000 metric tons in other markets that could have been purchased in the United States.
We feel like if there isn't some resolution to some of the hoops that they have to jump through to purchase our wheat, not only cash, but some of the other hurdles that they have to go over, that we may lose this market.
Mark Hodges heads up Oklahoma's Wheat Commission and says Cuba has the potential to buy up to a quarter of all the wheat Oklahoma farmers grow.
Logistically, it should be their market, 1 million metric tons, and again, that's anywhere from a quarter to a fifth of an Oklahoma wheat crop. It is significant, and it could be a significant difference in cash price of wheat in the state if we can capture that market. And there's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't.
We have the logistics to be able to send them a lot of wheat, particularly from Oklahoma and some from Kansas and Texas, the Midwest area. Because of logistics, it's easy to get it there. It's only 56 hours from the Port of Houston to Havana. They like our quality of wheat. They want hard red winter wheat for the bread that they make. So we're a given if we can get the government to allow us to send it to them.